Hello to all of you Café Con Leche watchers out there. It's your girls, Lillian and Alyssa. Hi. We wanted to take a second before the episode to address the fact that we don't talk about what's going on in the world as far as Black Lives Matter and all of the protests and whatnot going on during this episode. We didn't want you to take that for willing complacency and silence. The fact is, this episode was recorded before the death of George Floyd. And so we were very much focused on the pandemic. So if you would like to donate, if you would like to, protest, there are some resources listed below this episode. Alyssa?
Please check out the links and resources below. Any way you can help matters. Please donate if you have the ability to. And if you can't, there's nothing more important than a conversation. Please act up, speak up. We're in this together and we support our brown and black brothers and sisters. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to Café Con Leche with Liz
and Lil. Hi. Good morning, sis. How are you?
Good morning.
Welcome, everybody. Café Con Leche, episode 3, quarantine edition, going strong. I don't feel like a human. I just woke up before we had to be here.
Too, sis. Me too.
Look I put on makeup so that I could look like a human, because apparently that is the definition of a human being.
You look gorgeous. And your face. You drinking out your face.
I am. This is me and my husband on our 5th anniversary.
Mira que cute.
Aren't we cute? I love him and stuff.
I have to have him make a cameo.
I know. He would never. He would just be like, no.
We'll start bothering him about it now.
I mean, I'll try, but I make no promises. How are you? How are things? How is Ryan?
I'm good. He's
good. Ryan. That's right. We both have a Ryan.
Both have Ryans.
Come up.
Good. It's not that sunny of a day here in New York, but the weather is still pretty mild. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to getting some light from this cafe and this interview and your love.
I'm so excited for our guests today.
Yes.
Today we have 2 of my very favorite people. I love them so much. We have wonderful guests for you guys today. We have the ridiculously talented Tommy Rivera-Vega and the beautifully talented, amazingly talented, beautifully talented Paola Hernández. They are so wonderful. We're so excited to talk to them. So let's get it going, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, thank you guys so much for being with us today.
Welcome.
Oh my God. How are you guys doing?
We're doing.
Yeah, we're doing. That's right. I think Paola did it right. We're doing.
That is so real. Everybody's like, yeah, just hold it on.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to come be with us and connect with each other.
Yes. Yeah, we love it.
Wonderful to see your beautiful faces.
And the most important question, we started off every time. Well, we tried. The first time we made it like halfway through the interview and we hadn't asked. How do you like your cafe? Do you like it sweet? Do you like it hot? Do you like it rich, like a dark chocolate? How do you like your cafe?
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. It has to be. Though mine it's dark, but it's because it has almond milk right now. So almond milk doesn't like clear the coffee as much as like regular milk would do.
What kind of milk now?
Almond
milk. I swear to God.
It's the accent. It's the accent. I'm sorry.
I thought you said owl milk, and I was like, owl.
Yeah, you know. Because we're on Gemini, so we're trying all the new things. So
yeah, the almond milk has got a little light brown, light tint to it. Keeps it a little darker. What about you, TRV?
Mira, all of the above. All of the above. I guess it depends what time of the day, how I'm feeling. But like honestly, I like to put a little canela, a little cinnamon in it at the end. So that's a little trick, that goes.
I know, keeping it sweet.
And if I got time, in the cafetera with the,
yes,
old school, tú sabes.
La greca.
La greca. My dad uses a greca every morning, and like that thing. First of all, his greca is older than sin. He's had it for so long, and the bottom, because I feel like he his coffee a little burned, so he has it, and so like the bottom is black. of the greca. The bottom is black because he's like, I want it to percolate fast and a little bit burnt and super hot. I'm like, that doesn't taste right.
See, and then sometimes in the hood we say we're cooking it with the sock.
With the
Oh
sock.
my God.
Yes.
No, I have a greca, but my greca doesn't even have a handle anymore because the handles are plastic, so they melt in like 2 seconds. And then just recently, I lost the top part of it where like you can just open it up. Just recently, so I don't want to buy a new one because the taste is so good. The older it gets, and the consistency is better. It's like wine. The consistency is way much better. The taste is better. So.
The oven mitts, you're like holding it with the oven mitts.
She's got the pliers, like checking the top.
Oh, measured. Because if I spill the one, if I spill the one I drop, I'm upset. I have to have the entire coffee.
Okay. Note to self: next Christmas, we'll at least get you a new handle for that thing.
We'll tape it.
Yes. So, oh my goodness, hello, I want to have some coffee with both of y'all because some cinnamon, some vanilla, and if you got some aged coffee, this sounds amazing. So how's it been going though? How's quarantine treating y'all?
Where are you guys quarantining, and how's it going?
Yeah.
Ladies first. Go ahead, Paola.
Well, I'm in New York. I'm already like climbing up the walls because I've already gone outside, done my part. I've even taken the tests just to make sure that I'm okay. But it's getting harder by the second. Like a lot of holidays are coming up. Like Mother's Day just came by, and I was like, I hate that I'm not with my mom. My birthday's coming up. Tony's birthday was just recently as well.
I know. Happy birthday on Saturday.
Yes, yeah, yay.
So it's just like, spending it by myself is so hard because I'm a person that is so family oriented and like I need to be around my friends. I love warm hugs. You know what I mean? So, and then I was born Father's Day. So it's just like that whole, like everything is just lining up. And on top of that is my 30th birthday. So it's just like, I'm losing my mind. But at the same time, I've been very active with a lot of people who are writing and just creating new music, creating new shows. I've never actually worked with so many Latinos that are working, like literally doing new musicals, doing new scripts. Like I just read for someone wrote a feature film, and he's like, I just need someone to read this with us, please. Can you? It's a Latina lead, and I was like, okay, let's do that. There's nothing else to do other than like be there for other people, and I've never been so more connected, even though it's between a screen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've been so connected to people in the industry that I know of and I've met through other people, but I've never actually interacted with the person or the people. And so it's been quite a journey of like rediscovering this craft, which is crazy, but it's great.
That's great. What about you, TRV? And for everyone out there, I call Tommy TRV.
TRV. I love it. You started calling me TRV, and then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be TRV.
I was like, that takes us back because we connected in the Heights. My first in the Heights. It was yours first too.
My first in the Heights, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I love you so much. And Puerto Ricans were all about the nicknames. So how's it been going for you, TRV?
It's been going. It's been going. Honestly, taking my time. At first, I was coming from a hard year, going from like gig to gig. Like I ended up in Boston. That was the last place right before coming in, and I came in right for the lockdown in Chicago. So it was already like super stressful. Like the anxiety was over the roof. So I took the first couple like weeks to really relax and people of color get asked to do these shows that are so emotionally and physically so exhausting. So it was beautiful the first couple of weeks to really have some time to breathe. That being said, I was supposed to come to do a show here, so like we ran into cancellations, and I'm a part of Teatro Vista, which I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit, and figuring out what the next steps are. So what Paola says of recreating the craft and how to do it, I mean, it's been a challenge, that's for sure. Like, I live for that, walking in the room, get energy vibes. It's a different kind of audition process. It's a different kind of like.
Oh my God, yes.
You know what I'm saying? The goals have to be completely readjusted, and so it's been a journey. That being said, other than that, I also work at a gym. I'm a boxing fitness coach, and so they had to close down, obviously. Rightfully so, they did. That being said, like we figuring out how to do that online. So I guess learning new skills is where I'm at. Figuring out how to like teach online, on like Instagram Live, boxing classes, and yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a couple months.
Have you guys noticed, I don't know if you guys feel the same way as I do, maybe you don't. Have you noticed that the more self-tapes that you do, the less fucks you give?
Oh, 100%. Like one of my self-tapes was me doing this with the phone. Like as if I was on a FaceTime call, because that was the whole premise of the song. So I'm like, hello, just pick up the phone. Please pick up the phone. Like literally, that was my entire audition.
I will tell you what. Because in the beginning I was putting up, because I have my background, so I was putting the background up. I was getting the ring light ready. Now I'm just like, I'm gonna use this wall. It's stained. I don't care. I put my head up in a ponytail because I don't have time to do it.
Even the slates are different. Like the slates, I'm like, you're gonna probably hear the fire truck outside. You're probably gonna hear my roommate watching How to Get Away with Murder. Like it's just you're gonna hear everything. And I apologize in advance, but we're not. You know what? We take the circumstances. And here we go.
Yeah, I was self-taping in the middle of the night just so that I could make sure that my family was all asleep and they wouldn't be interrupting. Blah blah blah. Now I'm like middle of the day. My mom is in the kitchen. You can hear all the pots. It's like, this is what it is. You're lucky I put on makeup.
We did today, though.
I know.
We did today, though.
Well, that's because, listen, my eyebrows only go to right here. If I don't add some, I have no personality.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I'm ridiculous. What can I tell you?
You can borrow some of mine. They like to
All right. Do you guys have any talents or anything that you've discovered during this time? Something that surprised you, something that maybe you wanted to work on and you're like, oh, this is going well. Like, for example, I started taking an art class. I know she's 2D arting right now. And I'm just you guys, I'm really good.
Yeah.
You
not surprised.
You have the time and the patience. I mean, you're really good at makeup, so I'm not concerned about how you handle brushes because you are very good, very talented with your face already. So I can't imagine. I could just imagine arts and crafts with you, definitely.
Yes. Do you have any hidden talents you have discovered or have cultivated on purpose?
I started playing the ukulele.
Yeah.
It's very, for me, it's more of I've always wanted to play an instrument and I just always gave up on it. And I had my friend Ashley, she was not going to use this ukulele. And she was like, do you want it? Because I'm about to, she went off and became a star and she's with Hamilton and all of that. So it's just here, I don't know what to do with this. Can you just grab this? And I'm like, yeah. But then this was probably last year, October, November, something like that. And I had it just dusty in the corner of my room. And then I just finally decided to pick it up. And now I can hear something and trying to find it in the uke rather than just trying to find the chords and whatnot. But that B flat chord is awful. I hate it.
It's a pain.
I hate it.
It's a pain.
And then I started writing a lot as well. Ooh, the light went out.
That's okay. You still look beautiful.
I started writing as well, which was really cool. And I discovered, and she's back. Hello. And I discovered a lot of things with writing, which is really interesting.
That's great. That's wonderful. What about you, TRV?
Honestly, I've had the time to really prep correctly for my cooking and for so I've been really enjoying it and it's been relaxing and I've learned a couple tricks. I've learned a couple things not to do. You know, just and other than that, like I play some piano, and so I've had the time to really sit down and like get into it, and not only that, but like use like GarageBand and like try to understand it and try to like create something, even if it's not for me, but like, you know, like it's been fun to like kind of artistically get into it that way, which is different, you know?
Absolutely.
We're all going to come out of here such stronger, not just artists, but like human beings, you know, just the culinary arts, the theatrical arts, visual arts, which is amazing. And I'm very excited to see the art that comes, the art, the theater, the film, the TV that's going to come out of this current time.
It's interesting even seeing like, you know, how the virtual songs, choruses, we're gonna sing a song together. Like I've appreciated how people are trying to not do the same thing all the time. Like even yesterday I had a meeting with Miguel, a director from home and from Puerto Rico, and he wants to do like an homage to the Tonys because everybody's pissed that a certain show is going to be shown and you're like but the Tonys, like, so he wanted to create something, and he called a few of us, and like the idea that he has is such it has us even create, like try to like figure out how can we portray the emotion through the song through a screen and not be the background in the back and then I'm just gonna sing my ass off. So seeing that we're already getting into that, and I'm agreeing with you, Alyssa. Like I can't wait for us to actually come out and like see what new things come of this.
Even directing is changing, you know. I've been reading a couple of articles and podcasts and just talking about how to direct for Zoom, how to direct podcasts, how to direct all kinds of different types of media now, you know, video plays, things like that. So it's a really cool time. I think there are things to be excited for, even though, you know, right now we can't live our best lives. There's a way for us to, if that's what you're feeling, you know, which is pretty cool.
We've talked a lot about like allowing yourself, I think as artists, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to create. You know, we've got all this time right now, we should be creating, right? But like, we were talking the other day with one of our other guests, Morgan, and she was just like, some days I don't want to. Sometimes I just want to be a person who's just sat at home, you know, like, and so it's that balance of keeping your heart up by creating, by like, you know, but also taking care of your heart because it needs a break. You're mourning something right now. We're mourning the way that our world is right now. So like,
well, it's even like dealing with anxiety and like, you definitely don't want to do anything, but you also don't want to live in the anxiety constantly all the time. And I think that's what got me to start writing. Like all of a sudden I'm writing about how the silence amplifies the sound and the noise in my head. Like what, like I finally have the time to sit down and acknowledge that this is a thing that is happening, and to be able to start writing about it. And then I keep hearing like this crazy sound in my head and I don't know what it is, and then I just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. All of a sudden I have like 3 pages long and I'm like, oh, this is script. Like it's a monologue. And like you're all of a sudden like investigating your art and like acknowledging that art, it regardless you want to sit down and like lay back and like cry it out, you still write about sitting down and crying it out. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how like art will always like be instilled instilled in us. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful of this time.
I've been reading also a lot because about like working on the artist that's going to create, right? So like if we just spend time like pressuring ourselves to create, like there's also other ways to create, but like create the artist is about to create something, whatever it is, but like use this time to like work on ourselves so we can like, you know, be at peace to create. Like.
Absolutely. So I'm going to do some linking here. I'm going to start connecting. Okay, so Paola and Tommy no, you guys know each other because you went to school together. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, oh my
UPR,
High school.
University of, or to high school. Oh,
God. High school
damn.
together.
Oh my God, you go way back.
Way back.
Oh my
Way
God, that's
back.
what I'm so excited and so proud and so happy to be with Paola. Like
I
literally, like
know.
we used to be in a talent, like we used to go to talent shows and compete, and like that's how we like used to kick it, and like we used to have the hip hop dance team, and then Paola, yeah, no, we used to kill it, and then Paola used to also like sing at the talent shows and also kill it. So like it was awesome.
Oh
Like
my God, it was amazing. It was crazy.
great times. Amazing.
I mean, we
Baby.
discovered this like musical theater world in high school, and like we ended up going to North Central College to do like a summer camp, and I was probably like 10th or maybe 11th grade, something like that.
Yeah.
And we were just kids and
You were
like
babies.
babies. My mom started to send me videos. She finally like was able to have the video cassette work. So she is in like memory lane, sending me all of these videos of all the things that I did as a kid. And I was like, I can't wait for her to find the talent show videos because it's going to be lit.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And
that
the
is
main common factor we have is we had this teacher in school, his mentor friend, Miguel Rosa, that like
Oh my God.
he's in New York now, and he really brought us into this world, taught us everything we really knew to the moment.
Shout out to Miguel.
Miguel, shout out.
All the
And, like,
time. All
and
the time.
pushed us to like, you know, get out there and go explore and do it. So hey, all the time, Miguel, yo.
All the time.
That's amazing. It's amazing to have somebody like that in your life that said, you know what, you guys are going to, who wanted to cultivate that in you, right? Because I didn't have that. My family was not an arts family, you know, so I kind of just fell into performing. Just so it's beautiful that you guys had somebody who was like, yes, please, let me show you this. Let me lift you up into these arts.
Our high school was very well rounded. Like arts was important, sports were important. Like a lot of extracurricular activities were so important to ingrain to students that I'm so grateful that I had that experience versus now that a lot of people, arts it's not important. And then the musical theater in Puerto Rico, it's still, you know, trying to build up, but there's no education for it. That's why we were so grateful for Miguel, because he studied in Marymount here in New York and then moved back to Puerto Rico, and he gave us his knowledge of musical theater to our generation, and that started to, you know, at least boost up a little, and then it just fell back down because arts were just taken away again from the curriculum.
Yeah, this is actually part of the reason why I wanted you guys on here, so you could speak to theater and the arts in Puerto Rico, because I was born and raised there, but my family left right before I turned 12, and it was certainly before, again, my family's not an arts family, so it was before I was in any way exposed to theater. So I know nothing really about the theater community in Puerto Rico or what it's like, or, you know, anything like that, which if you guys have some theater companies that you want to shout out, we will list them with this video in case people want to donate, and like, you know, so yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted you on here.
I unfortunately like theater back home it's tricky because if you're not on the TV, if you're not in television, then if you're in television, for example, and you're doing a show, because you're in TV, we're going to go and see the show. Like, you know what I mean? Like oh my God, there's so much talent in Puerto Rico. It's ridiculous how many people are so talented, well-rounded, triple threats, quadruple threats. Like they are insanely talented, but they don't have the outlet to actually shine. Why? Because it doesn't sell. You're a person, you might be so green for this producer that you don't sell. You just don't. And that's the unfortunate part, is that we have to take the risk and actually move out of the island and get jobs outside of the island. I wish I was back home.
Same.
Working. Because literally Puerto Rico has so much to give. But you know, it's all about what sells the most. And even musicals, you could be rehearsing for 3 months for a weekend. Not even a Tuesday to Sunday, a weekend, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday matinee, maybe a matinee on a Saturday.
Wow.
If you sell. And if you sell well, you probably do 2 weekends or 3 weekends. I know for a fact that In the Heights is going to be in Puerto Rico, and they just started to like sell. Like they opened another performance, and they were going day by day, like how much they could sell. And so it's just like, it's hard. And again, it goes back to education. Like, no, we're not educated to go to theater, to acknowledge work of art, to read the play, to read a musical, to read something that we can see later on at the end of our school year. So it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, Paola said it all right there. But, like,
She covered it.
That being said, like, it also, like, I guess pushes us to go out there and, like, at the end, at least for me, obviously for myself, like, I would love to go, like, back and all the, like, that I'm learning like a sponge to bring it in. But, like, I think there's something about also, like, the behind the scenes, the union aspect of it, like the setup of this is the rehearsal space is going to be for this and for this amount of hours. This is the time we're going to use. We're going to have this amount of breaks. We're going to have, you know, like, we have this contract that says these is amount of rehearsals. So there's also a lot that I've learned to that aspect of it, of the unions paying attention, making sure that people are, like, you know,
they're now
treated well.
They are now
taking advantage of their,
they are now instilling the etiquette of rehearsals. The 10 to 6, and you're rehearsing from 10 to, this is happening now. When the director was like, Michael Santana, the director for In the Heights, he's like, the way that he said it to me was like, once you have the chance to do it, I will try to instill what I know from my experience of working on Broadway, I'm working off Broadway, I'm working on different regional theaters, and I will bring it to Puerto Rico, because we have to instill that ay Dios mío, comportamiento, behavior.
Behavior. That's right. You can say it in Spanish. Listen.
Yeah.
Say it in Spanish. Say it in Spanish. We'll dub it on the bottom.
El
We'll drop it on the bottom.
We'll just, like, you know, we'll put in the, what's it called? The closed captions on the bottom. People don't understand. They could look it up. That's what Google Translate is for.
That's right.
No tea, no shade. We had to learn a full language. They can learn a word.
Hello.
Listen, that was a whole conversation about my name. How do you say your name? I'm like,
Paola.
Yeah, it's honestly not that complicated. And I have to go, okay, how do you say hello in Spanish? How do you say hello? Okay.
Hola.
So I just add the pa. So Paola. Hola, Paola. That's it.
You're like, how am I having to explain this to you? No, that's real. Listen, when I was learning English, there was nothing more complicated for me than finding 2 vowels together that didn't sound separately, right? So, like, you know, in Spanish, every vowel gets its weight, you know, Paola. You're like, every single one, right? In English, they put 2 together and they're like, this is E. And I'm like, but there's an E and an A there. There's an E and an A. You're sure this is E? You're positive. But an E and an E is an E. Okay. All right, sure, whatever.
The double O is the one that always gets me. Pool, stool, but then it has, I'm trying to think of other words that are double O but are not oo sounding.
Yes.
And you're like, what?
Oh.
Wait, why is this a thing? Why is it? And then because that's the I remember a teacher saying to me, because that's the la regla, that's the rule. And I'm like,
oh wow.
No. What
doesn't make
like
sense.
for us, las reglas son las reglas. Like, it's written this way, so it has to be pronounced this way.
A-E-O-U. You see them, and that's what they sound like.
Oh my God. English is very hard.
It was. You know, it's a complicated thing. Okay. I have one more thing that I want to ask you guys about, and then we can maybe chat for a little bit, and then we'll wrap it. I'm trying to make these shorter because our first one was like 49 minutes long. And I was like, we cannot do 49 minutes of interview every time. All right. So do you guys have any specific theaters or organizations that you want to shout out right now? We can list their websites at the bottom of the video, just like to get people to donate, or, you know, if they've got internet content that they're offering for people so that, you know, is there anything? TRV, you got one?
Yeah, totally. I'm an ensemble member, proud ensemble member of Teatro Vista, small union Latinx theater company in Chicago. They do great work, especially they do great new work, obviously, because the problem is that there's not a lot of representation, not a lot of stories for us. So they do that. So the website is teatrovista.org. Sorry. And then you can also follow them on Instagram. You can also follow them on Facebook. They're throwing some content to try to stay active with everything. So obviously, a donation will be greatly appreciated. I know that we were supposed to do the Dream King, which was a world premiere, all physical theater, which is pretty cool to see in a Latinx theater. And it had to be canceled. So the plan is to keep it going, right? To like do it as soon as we can. That being said, yeah, Teatro Vista will be the organization. There's another organization called Chicago Artists Relief Fund. They are a bunch of wonderful artists in Chicago that created this GoFundMe page to help other artists. Especially, there's a lot of non-union artists in Chicago that like because of the gigs and how it is, they can't do like unemployment or can't do this or that. You know what I'm saying? So like they do like help out these artists in Chicago. They started with a goal that they easily crushed, and now they're doing the second round to like help out more artists. And so yeah, if you can, I'll send the link. So right there, and right there, so, or there, or whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want.
It'll be down, right?
It'll be down.
It'll be down.
Right there.
It'll be down.
Right there. So yeah, those would be the two main organizations that I know are doing great work, especially helping out our artists that have lost all our jobs. So yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Paola?
The one that comes into mind right now is Repertorio Español here in New York. We have a friend who is one of the heads for that, for Repertorio Español, and they're trying to keep the theater afloat, because they're production based, and like we have so many friends that are performing in that theater itself, and the way that they do their performances is like on a Saturday there's a performance of La Gringa, and then all of a sudden the next day they're doing La Canción, and then the next day they're setting up for something else. And it's a very educational as well. Like they have students that come in like see these shows. So I would say Repertorio Español. I don't know the website at the top of my head.
That's okay. We can look it up.
We got it. And it'll be down there.
Down below.
Was there another one, Paola?
And then I've just been donating to the Actors Fund, because I am the lucky one that like I'm still getting unemployment, and I'm still, but then sometimes you see this amount of money, and yes, you're saving on your side, but you also want to help friends that are, they're trying, and it's hard to, because I'm in the generation that a lot of people of my age range are now about to do their Broadway debuts, and shows got canceled, shows got postponed. A friend of mine was about to debut in Little Shop of Horrors, and he's not, there, and this dangling, thread. My friend's debuting in Hadestown. I have another friend that was debuting in Frozen, and it's just, it's so hard. So even when we did the video for In the Heights for Milwaukee, they compensated us, and I was like, I wasn't counting with this money, so I'm just gonna.
So I gave it forward.
I paid. Yeah, it was like Actors Fund. Whoever needs it, go for it. Like, and then we try.
Yeah,
Actors Fund.
Holding each other up.
Repertorio.
Of course.
I'm gonna keep linking here because I got sidetracked. So the two of you have known each other since high school. TRV and I met doing In the Heights. at Paramount Theater here in the Chicago suburbs. And TRV was our Usnavi cover. And
did you ever go on for that? Did you ever go on?
Not that one.
He never went on that one, but he went on to play Usnavi up in Milwaukee at Skyline Music Theater.
That's right.
Yeah. And I drove up there to see that.
That's
killed
right.
it.
Oh my
It was
God.
so good. Listen, I came. I had my flag.
Of course
You did. I remember.
Of course you did.
And you gave me that flag too. I remember. I have it still.
I came ready. I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's how we. Oh, did we lose Paola? Oh no.
We're back.
Okay. Ooh, there you are. There you are.
Sorry,
so that's
a
how,
call entered.
It's all good. And so that's how we met, and we have worked together since we got to do just recently. Last year, we did the Music Man together. And then Alyssa and I met Paola doing In the Heights in Oregon. Because Alyssa, so originally when our cast all got together, Alyssa was Carla to my Danny, but then we lost our Vanessa and they bumped Alyssa up to Vanessa. And so we needed some beautiful human to come along and take over Carla. And there was Paola with all of her love and her joy.
I cried. Oh my God. I've cried so many times because it was like my 12th audition for an In the Heights production. And I actually, with that production, I was on tour when the audition process started to happen for the co-op. So I was sending video submissions, and they had called me for Vanessa, and that's literally the role that I always go for. The only role that they call me in for is Vanessa. And it was that audition process was just so crazy to me because I was already so tired of auditioning for In the Heights, proving that I could do the show. I was so exhausted that my agent was like, "Hey, just go. You never know." Of course, you never know. I remember showing up with shorts, flats, my hair, the glasses, and that was it. Like, I was fed up.
Talk about giving no fucks.
I was tired. And then I remember walking in, they called me in for Vanessa because I think at that point you guys knew that that you didn't have your Vanessa, so they were auditioning for Vanessa and ensemble. I think that was the only two roles that they were auditioning. And then I sang It Won't Be Long Now, and they asked me to sing Champagne, and then Eugenio, our music director, literally did the Usnavi part because the reader only knew the first part of it, and then they asked us to do the entire song. Yeah. And then they're like, "Do you have something else in your book?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I sang A Way Back to the End from Title of Show. That is a very Nina song. I was like, "Well, you might as well just sing something that is not
just slip this in
sassy."
There.
That is not sassy whatsoever. And so I sang that, and then the next day I get a call back, but for Nina, and I was like, "Nina, what? That audition process was just beautiful because I just remember William, Eugenio, I think May was in the little corner, but I remember just all of them just leaning forward, and then I finished brief, and they just leaned back, and you know that you did your job.
Like, ooh, I
walked out and I was like, "Yay, I did it!" And then literally 2 hours later, they had offered me Carla understudy Nina. It was just, and now you're flying next week. Oh, cool. Let me pack.
And for the record, so our Nina during that rehearsal process got injured in the middle because we rehearsed for 1 week basically before we put the show up. Yeah. Because most everybody had already been doing it for 6 months. So we had 6 new people, including Paola. And our Nina got injured her voice during our rehearsals, and she had to leave. And a certain somebody, Paola, had to step in until they found a new Nina. And that means that she opened the show. And because she opened the show, she won a Broadway World Award for Nina.
I was like, where are we going with this? Yeah.
She played cool. Carla most of the show, but that one weekend.
It was 2 performances.
Yeah.
Not 2 performances. No, 2 weeks of performances. That's what I meant. 11 performances.
That 2 weeks was enough for enough people to come and see her in the show, love her, and vote for her
My
Broadway
parents
world.
flew the moment that my parents flew. They were already planning to come to opening night. I was like, come to opening night. It's the greatest time. You get to meet everybody. Like, it's the greatest time. And the fact that they were able to see me as Nina, that literally like, my heart.
So good. Oh, it was so good. You guys, I tried not to make it 49 minutes, but it got all the way to like 42.
We're Latinos.
Hey, we still did it. We did it.
I know.
We did it.
One last question.
Oh, go for it.
And we'll make this a brief one. If you were to give, now that you guys have experienced the show, it's connected. Not your lives were already connected, but you have an additional connection. You've met so many other people. What do you have any parting words for people who have done the show or who haven't done the show? Just about moving through life and what this show has given them or given you guys. Just a couple of words to pass on.
I can start. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I mean, I'll never forget the first moment I saw in the Heights when they performed and at the Tonys, and literally I was just in shock. I was for the first time identified, and for the first time I saw someone that moved, danced, talked, did everything like me, which was completely unheard of, really, until that moment. And not only that, but that it was accepted and successful and all that. So I guess anytime I step into that show, especially anytime on stage, the show has taught me, but especially with this show, to never forget why the show is so important, like historically in the theater world, for giving people of color the opportunity to really be their authentic selves and inspire the new generation, which is exactly what it did for me. So it's helped me 1,000,000% that with my career, to trust my instinct and my skill and my background and my everything. Just trust it, no matter what this big and white institutions say. Just trust it and never change it. And also in the show, just to stay true to it. Wow, I got carried away. Sorry, that was
No,
long.
That was good. That was good.
I think you've hit most of the points. I would just say that, I mean, it's a song. It's already a song of the show, and it was just patience and faith. Like those two. I mean, a friend of mine sent me a bracelet. I'm actually wearing it that says Paciencia y Fe, and like it's something that I've been carrying with me ever since I've done the show, because sometimes I just forget about it. And in the sense of family, man. To be able to share the stage with people that look like me and not look like me, and we're still Latino, like that's like, you get the dark skin, the light skin, the blondies, and then you get the curly loud ass like myself.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I love you guys so much. It's been so great talking to you. And thank you to everybody who watched the show today. And we hope you always have your coffee exactly the way you like it. Bye.
See you soon.